Welcome to this, the second annual Cal State Fullerton Titan High School Honor Band. 4 pieces for you this evening, and the first is entitled Drawing Mars by composer Markowski. There's a story behind this piece that's really quite interesting. First, this story begins with Mr. Lowell. And Mr. Lowell grew up on the East Coast and grew up into a wealthy family in the late 1800s, early 1900s, and went to Harvard and was fascinated by science and the cosmos. And he built, using his own money, an observatory. And actually, if you go to Flagstaff, Arizona, to this day, you can go to the Lowell Observatory. That's the one that he started and built with his own money. He began to study the planet Mars, and he had a colleague in Italy who was also studying the planet Mars, and found that on the planet Mars, there were these rings that were not built into, but rings that were in the surface of the planet. And his Italian colleague had these drawings of Mars with these sort of surface level rings in the Martian community. And the thing that struck Mr. Lowell was he thought these were canals. And because they were canals, there had to have been life on Mars, because these canals had water. And Mr. Lowell went out into the world. He was well-to-do, he was well-respected, and he began to say there was life on Mars. It found these canals, and it stuck. And it made the cover of the New York Times that there was life on Mars because Mr. Lowell and his colleague had studied this and found this to be the case. Now, modern science and modern astronomy have told us that that's not the case. However, that's where this piece begins. Mars has always had our fascination in sci-fi and science fiction, so Mr. Markowski wrote this piece, Drawing Mars, with this very cool sci-fi effect and all these sort of really cinematic colors. There's an electronic component to this, and in the electronic component is the soprano Gila Plitman. You will hear her. So we open with Michael Markowski's Drawing Mars.
Thank you so much. My name is Dr. Dustin Barr. I'm the Director of Bands here at Cal State Fullerton, and what an honor it is to be working with all of these fine students on this stage. We have 38 schools represented from all over the region here today. Thank you to the students, thank you to the parents of these students for supporting the arts and supporting this event, and thank you to all the wonderful educators out there in the audience who have students here in the ensemble. That piece is entitled Autumn by composer Cait Nishimura. Just a beautiful, beautiful piece all about sculpting sound. And I think a piece like that deserves to be on every sort of honor band concert. Something that moves away from rhythm and is just a pure exploration of beautiful, beautiful color. Moving now to our next selection, which I will also be conducting, and then we will welcome Dr. Whitmore one more time to conclude the concert after this. The next piece is by a composer named Neelhybel, and it is titled Corsican Litany. A little bit about the piece. It used to be commonplace centuries ago in certain regions of the world to hire a professional singer at a funeral to dramatize through song the grief of the family. And in Corsica, which is an island off of France, though it hasn't always historically belonged to France, in Corsica centuries ago, this was a practice. And there were two different types of song. There was a standard lamento for anyone who died of natural causes, and then there was something called the vocero, which was for somebody who had been murdered. And this piece uses as its source material a melody from a vocero. And Neelhybel sets this for the modern concert band. And I think in doing so, he tries to really encapsulate the feelings of intense grief, but also of anger underneath and underpinning all of this. So it's been a very rewarding composition for all of us to engage in. I'm thrilled with the level of music making that these students have committed to in such a short period of time, and I know you will enjoy this next selection. This is Neelhybel's Corsican Litany.
before we perform our final piece, just a few acknowledgments. First, this has been a wonderful 2 days with these fantastic individuals. I have been the coordinator of this ensemble for the last 2 years since its inception. And last year it was the first honor band in the history of Cal State Fullerton. And this year it is the second. So we are just so proud of these young people for giving their time and commitment and dedication to music and music making. Can you give them a big round of applause? Certainly events like this don't happen with just Dr. Barr and myself. Our production team is fantastic. We threw a lot at them this concert with the chamber ensembles and the screen and all the other things. So to Jeff and to Will and to Chris Seawright and all of the ushers and folks, can we give them a big round of applause for this? We've got a lot of wonderful student groups here. The Phi Mu Alpha Sinfonia chapter here at Cal State Fullerton is just fantastic. Dedicated students, scholars, great musicians, but also willing to serve in the interest of the School of Music. They have been helping with getting lunches and distributing shirts and helping with the logistics of the ensemble. Can we thank the Cal State Fullerton chapter of Phi Mu Alpha Sinfonia? Dr. Barr mentioned, we have 38 different high schools represented on this stage, roughly 100 students. That is up from 80 students last year at 24 schools. And all of these wonderful students have programs that they go to Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. And to those music educators who have lent Dr. Barr and myself these fantastic students to collaborate with over the last 2 days. If you are a high school band director, middle school band director who has students here in the ensemble, please stand so we can give you a big round of applause, please. Thank you. And to the parents who are here, who have students in these wonderful programs. If you didn't know, the month of April is Buy Your Band Director a Steak Month. So they will take those at any point in time, I'm sure. Before we close with our final piece, we will take one ensemble picture right on stage, right at the end, so we'll just hold for a minute and we'll take our photo. And we'll close tonight with Katahj Copley and his piece, Skyward.